there, everyone. Happy Wednesday. It's another episode of Lunchtime Live. Today it's episode 5, and we're doing a special Earth Day celebration. So to get things started, I wanted to share with you something about my special guest today. So we're speaking with Cathy Nesbitt, and she's part of the Green Connections business group, and I was on the presentation yesterday. So she invited me to speak yesterday about LinkedIn, of course. And I just love the reciprocal nature of networking and business collaborations, because here I am now getting to interview Cathy for our Lunchtime Live. So to kick things off, I was able to go to the store and pick up this deck of cards. It's 100 ways. I don't know if you can see here when my fingers are covering it.
Yeah, I see them.
100 ways to save the planet. So Cathy, I'm going to shuffle up these cards. That must be fun. And with your amazing energy, I'm going to have you choose a card, any card.
Okay, I'm going to get the third one from the left.
Third one from the left. This one over here.
Nope, the other side.
Other side. Yeah.
Mine up.
Okay, so it's this one here. Okay, so here we go. Ooh, shop locally. So shop locally. Go into the local farmers market to support your local economy. Will reduce plastic and packaging waste. It also helps reduce fuel and packaging used to ship the food from afar. That is so cool. And that is something I love to do. Cathy, how about you? Do you have a favorite local market?
Absolutely. There's lots of farmers markets now. I mean, not yet in Canada, but they start actually third week of May usually.
Fantastic. Awesome. And then I suppose you are promoting your business at these markets, right?
Yes, or just visiting. Sometimes I'm just a shopper.
Awesome. Well, my name again is Olivia. I'm your LinkedIn Vibe host today. I believe that visibility, impact, and brand expression are the keys to your social media success. And every Wednesday I feature, someone from my network. And, I think Cathy embodies exactly what I love to teach, being visible, showing up, and showcasing, her unique passion and mission. She calls herself the EcoPreneur, but also a very special laughing EcoPreneur. So we'll talk more about that. There's so much I can talk to Cathy about. And, she and I met last year through a networking event, and I will say it was laughter at first sight. I was drawn to your laughter energy, and I used to just find myself giggling out of nervous energy, but actually now it's just been very just relieving, and it helps me to release, and I think attract people who are resonating with my own particular kind of laughter energy. So to kick things off, just a little bit about Cathy. I was doing all my research and homework preparing for this, and she had so many links, so many episodes, podcast interviews that she's been out there. And it's really special just to see you, Cathy. And I will say that, in just reviewing all this, I really would like to dub you as the Cathy, the catalyst for change. I love CCCs, so it's the alliteration on there, but you're really, I think, in my mind, a catalyst for change. I've seen it in myself. You inspired me to pursue laughter yoga training. You inspired me to be on video. I was just like so amazed by your spontaneous energy and just doing things, on the fly, on the cuff, and just, your visibility with wanting to get out there, working with media, appearing in all different types of media, TV, TED Talks, podcasts, etc. And so it's and I think when we first met, you were my first LinkedIn client. So yay! So thank you so much for trusting in me to help you with your LinkedIn profile. And I think at the time, like, you were in a challenge with someone else to kind of like who could get on the most podcast interviews. And so I was feeding you all these links and all these connections, right, to get on different podcast channels. And then I realized to myself, well, why don't I do the interviewing? I love interviewing people. And I'm in recruiting, and so I interview people for a living, so to speak. And so, just really sparked that idea in me. Like, I could just have my own episodes, have my own shows where I could feature people, interview interesting people that I get to choose, to learn and promote. So here we are, Cathy. You've been a major catalyst of change for me.
I love that, Olivia. I'm gonna take that. I really might. Cathy, catalyst for change. Yes, sounds like a politician.
In a way.
Imagine if they were like me, though. Imagine if the politicians were like me. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm not
Yeah.
running anybody.
Um, so how I met you was through the worm composting or vermicomposting, right? That's the technical word for it. So tell the audience who are meeting for the first time a little bit about that. Like, how did you even get started with that? Because it seems like so niche.
Thank you. Yes. So my working title is Cathy Crawly, Laughing Bean Queen. So it's worms, sprouts, and laughter yoga. And I'm so thrilled. Before I launch into my worm thing, I just wanted to say, Olivia, I'm so honored to be here, and I'm thrilled to watch you grow. I mean, you just gravitated, like you said, to laughter. You wanted to be trained, so I trained you, and I had that my very first training because of you. So I'm really grateful. It seems like we really were meant to meet at the time that we were, and we're just like sparking off each other. You know, I remember I sent a video, a testimonial to you about your great work on LinkedIn, and I said that was a one-off. And you were so impressed. And now I look at you on video and I'm like, man, your voice is so strong and it's perfect for you to be doing your own interviews now. It's beautiful. Yeah. So, okay. So it's Earth Week and I deal in earthworms. So worms could be Earth, the mascot for Earth Month. And briefly how I got into it, it's, for those that are watching, it's indoor composting with worms. So for anyone that doesn't have space for outdoor composting or access to, a collection program where they collect the stuff for composting, this is a wonderful solution. And so it's done in a container. It's your food scraps and paper, and then the worms turn all of that into beautiful, I call it black gold. It's the worm poop, but it's nutrient-rich soil, so we can grow more nutrient-rich plants. Everything I do is really about sustainability, health, wellness, and just taking care of ourselves. When we look after ourselves, we take care of the planet at the same time. Right? If we're in stress and we're eating unhealthy and we're really not living a good life, we're not caring about the planet, but we're not caring about ourselves. And I think it really does start with us. And when we feel good, then we want to do good.
Fantastic. And I was just going through like all the archives. I checked all your activity on LinkedIn, of course. I think we did a talk recently, a podcast talk about how worms can fight global how worms can fight. Let me grab the title here. Global warming. So I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah. So
That
yeah, one of the top 10 ways to mitigate climate change is by looking after our organic matter. So if we're all looking after our food scraps, every household, if everyone's looking after their food scraps, we don't have to truck all of that around. So all of the fossil fuels from the trucks or however they're getting around, the emissions, the time, all of, like, there's so many things. And then if we have a garden, Olivia, we can use that compost right in the garden. If you garden and you're not making compost, now you've got to go to the garden center or go and buy some compost or buy some triple mix or, to amend your soil. Make your own and then you know what's in it.
That's fantastic. I love that so much. Just having those alternatives, right? Alternatives available to you. I mean, I'm not much of a green thumb, but I'm really excited now because I'm in the middle of a house hunt. So I can't wait to like finally have my own little garden space and to really dig into all this warm composting. And
Dig in.
I know, I can't wait to dig in and get dirty. Because we have a mutual friend. We have a mutual friend, Lori Scott, and she's all about like the algae grow and the soil amendment. And then through your Green Connections Network group yesterday, I met someone, Andrew, who a different type of soil amendment, and it's made from crickets. I mean, it's like what in the world? And it's so cool
It's
that
amazing.
sustainable alternatives versus like the fertilizer you can pick up in the store.
Absolutely. And when we feed the soil, the soil looks after the plant. Nothing for us to be done. Really, I mean, really just feed the soil and then stand back and then the plants look after themselves, right? Nobody's in the forest tending to the soil. The soil is looking after the soil.
Exactly. I think it's so important. I mean, I was saying the other day, like Earth Day should be every day.
Right? One day we won't need an Earth Day because we will be just taking care of the planet. I hope so. You know, it really is hopeful. During this time, we have such a big demand for worms that we're actually have a waiting list at the moment.
Oh,
And
no
I,
way.
yeah, and I find that super hopeful because that means people are looking at gardening. You know, schools are going online at this time. So this is a wonderful project for children. You know, give the children a worm bin and then they can do all kinds of subjects. They can write stories about the worm bin. The worms have 5 hearts each. Can you imagine how beautiful? 5 hearts. How wonderful. Um, you know, they can learn about the biology, what do worms eat. They can do trials on, do they like bananas better or, you know, cabbage? Yeah. So I think it's hopeful. And I really hope when we get all this worked out that people continue to want to do gardening and grow things. There are actually antidepressant microbes in the soil. So when we have our hands in the soil, we're getting access to those antibacterial or antidepressant microbes in the soil. And so gardeners are happy because we're connected to the soil, we're slowing down. And when you're gardening, your hands are in the dirt. You can't be on your thing. I don't have a thing, but if I had a thing.
You know, that's a great segue about this thing and this thing. So one fun fact about Cathy that I discovered that just, you know, tickles me is that she does not have a cell phone. Like Cathy, you've been without a cell phone for gosh, how many years? You just
Yeah, I have a landline.
She still uses a landline. So, and it amazes me because, you know, she's fully functioning business owner and without a cell phone. And so it's very possible. And so unlike me, because in my profession, I just feel like I have to have my phone attached to my hip at all times. Like I'm constantly attached to my phone. And I had to like really like be mindful and give myself like a digital detox, you know, put away the phone. But after you've been without the phone, I mean, you know, it's how has that experience, you know, benefited you just not having a cell phone?
You know, I can tell you that it's actually magic. Here's what happens when I leave my house. I mean, before before this cuckoo time, we're talking of BC. I would leave my house and I would lock the door, and so my house is safe. It's safe in air quotes, right? I don't know what's happening in my house. And I walk, I go do my thing, and I'm not thinking, oh, I wonder if they sent me a text. I've never texted in my life. Right? Did they email? Did somebody trying to reach me? I don't know. And I have no way to think about that. So I'm free. I'm free to just experience where I am and think about how much money I have saved by not you know, people say you're losing business. Maybe, but if people really want to do business with me, there's lots of ways to connect. Right? I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on all the social medias. I have a desktop, I do have a computer. You know? So there's ways, and you know, you said that it's attached to your hip. I would actually like you to reframe that thinking and not say that, because then it is. And you do need to detox from it. You do need to have boundaries around it. And I can only imagine if I had a cell phone that I would be like everyone. I'd be like, oh, bing, or zzz. I'd be like, oh, I know I'm in the middle of a conversation, but I got to check. I wonder who's trying to get me, even if it's a spam thing. Yeah.
Oh, I appreciate that, Cathy. Yes. So no more saying that. I mean, I don't have the hip holster, thank goodness. I think it's so funny. People have the belt or the holster with the belt clip where they put the cell phone. So thankfully, I don't have that.
much energy is attached to the cell phone, though? If you think about, I see people walking around with their cell phone in their hand, and I think if I needed help, they couldn't even help me. One of their hands is already occupied.
Oh gosh, but I love what you said about how freeing it is. Yeah, because you're not, occupied, right? Like, oh, who's trying to get a hold of me, etc. So that is really beautiful, magical. Excellent. So yes, so for those of you watching, reframe your thinking, and give yourself that gift of a digital detox. Get off the grid.
You
It
don't
can
have
be.
to be accessible 24/7. You don't have to be accessible all the time. You don't. I remember when Blackberries came out and people were like, oh, I don't want my boss calling me in the middle of the night or whatever. And now it's just expected that they send stuff and you're going to respond kind of right away. And that's not cool. You're not paid for 24-hour service.
Indeed, indeed. Oh man. Um, and I think something else you just said about just the money you save. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Without the, having to expect a cell phone bill, etc. Um, and you mentioned LinkedIn and Facebook. So even without the cell phone, you're still able to participate, right, in like the messaging apps because those are very powerful and they are available on the desktop. And so you can
Yes.
still get the benefit, right, of like messaging and kind of like sending voice clips and images and animations and files all through like the LinkedIn phone messaging app or even Facebook Messenger. So you're right. If there are people looking to get a hold of you, there are ways.
Yes, I'm just not on Clubhouse because I don't have a phone and it's through Instagram and whatever, right? But I don't need to, people, you don't need to be on every platform. You really, like Olivia would say, like focus on one, stick to LinkedIn and get good at that, and then maybe add another, or don't do everything because then you're like master of none.
Oh, excellent point. Yes, yes. Because sometimes, when I'm working with new clients, it's like, well, I'm already on Facebook and Instagram. I do so much. Why are you adding another platform? And that tends to happen with social media, right? Like they compete for your attention. And so it can get overwhelming, can get really, really overwhelming. So just being able to track where you're getting the most traction, where you're getting the most business and progress and stick to that. So, and you know me, I think it's LinkedIn.
And I benefit so much. I really am grateful to your guidance on LinkedIn and helping me with my profile, sending me connections. I mean, it's just, it really is magic. And I do believe what you've been saying, that people are on LinkedIn to do business. Facebook and some of the others they're social. You can get business, but it's more, here's what I'm doing, and hey, here's here's my lunch. Isn't it beautiful? And yeah, and there's a place for those too, by the way.
Wonderful. Well, those of you who are watching, thank you so much for tuning in. And I'd like to just talk now about laughter yoga, right? Because I think that's what connects us. And I'd love to kind of have you, Cathy, lead us through a laughter yoga exercise.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
I
So
think we need a little afternoon pick me up, anyways.
right? Yeah, so beautiful. And you can do this anytime, folks. So beautiful. So laughter yoga is not about fancy pants or poses, and that's all fine. It's intentional laughter exercises. And I think we mentioned it during the live that you're trained also in laughter yoga. You're a leader, and I'm a teacher, and it's a beautiful thing. So it's really just laughing for the health of it. We can live without food and water for a few days. We might be grumpy and uncomfortable, but we can only live without oxygen for a few minutes. So it's intentional breathing, some clapping and chanting. And so if anyone's watching along and you want to just do a quick thing and get some energy, just when you're clapping, clap palm to palm. So that's activating the meridians, the acupressure points. So we can just add. So we're just going to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and smiling. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Or and we could add some words. Ho ho ha ha ha. 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 Just doing that alone will give you some energy. But we could just take some nice deep breaths in. Take a nice deep breath in and look up and hold it. And then when you breathe out through your mouth, just weave your hands in front of your face. So, you know, just like the DNA helix, the double helix, that our energy needs to cross. And when we're feeling sad or depressed, it's because our energy is just going down the sides. It's not crossing. So doing this weaving, whenever we can weave, like just do figure eights and around your energy, and that will help to, you know, your energies to be more of a matrix rather than just individual strands. So yeah, so just I don't know how much time we have, but I think that's good. I mean, I really would invite people to come. I have a free Tuesday class, 9:30 in the morning, 30 minutes on Zoom, and it's pure self-care. Just come. I incorporate laughter yoga, of course. It's about that. Tapping, brain gym, just different energy modalities. Whatever I learn, I bring that so people can live a better life, so they can sleep better, so they can just reduce stress. And, you know, just when we're in stress, Olivia, we can't heal. So we may be taking all kinds of supplements and thinking the good thoughts or doing all the things. When we're in stress, we're secreting cortisol and we can't heal. We can't heal when we're stressed because our body is fighting the stress. So laughter is the best medicine. Have you had your daily dose? Yes, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins, the love drugs.
That is so cool, Cathy. Thank you for giving us that little snippet. And, you know, with so many of us working at home and working remote, it's good practice, right? Just to be in your chair. And if you're feeling like stressed or frazzled, even just doing that simple exercise of breathing in and holding it and then the weaving out, exhale. I mean, that's amazing. I think an amazing energy lifter for our body. Our soul. So, and it's so cool that you brought up that acronym. You know, it's a dose, right? Even the word dose spells it out for you that you need all those neurotransmitters and feel good neurotransmitters and neurochemicals.
I know, right? When we're stressed, we're secreting cortisol. We're in charge of our own pharma. That's the beautiful part. It's beautiful. We're in charge. When we're stressed, cortisol. When we're laughing, right? High energy vibration. You said you want to attract people that are vibrating really high. That's what laughter is. It brings us up here. We can't be thinking about yesterday or tomorrow. We're present, totally present when we're laughing.
That is amazing. So if you guys are enjoying that, I mean, I put the link, and I'll put the link to in the post itself about how to register for Cathy's Laughter Club. And we meet on Tuesday mornings at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And so it's a lot of fun. I mean, she'll have you on the floor, just rolling on the floor laughing. But, you know, like you said, it's not just the jokes or comedy. It's really about just turning on that intentional type of laughter as a coping mechanism.
Yeah, it's not jokes or comedy. There's no jokes or comedy. Don't worry. If you don't even speak English, good. Join in. It's just laughing. You know, before COVID, I was going into long-term care, working with folks with dementia and folks with special needs, nonverbal people. And it was just like, it's such a beautiful release. Imagine how frustrating if you can't talk in your whole life. People are telling you, do this, don't do that, go there, you want to eat this, you want to wear that, and maybe that's not what you want, so you have behaviors when really all you just need to do is have a good laugh and get it out. Thank you.
Yes, get it all out. Wonderful. And for those of you who are interested, I mean, Cathy is hosting another online laughter yoga leader training. So I was part of the first group. So that was in February, and I'm certified. And it was so much fun, just diving into the philosophy, right? And the science behind the laughter as the best medicine. And so, you know, it's not something that's superficial. I think that people, you know, sometimes mistake it for. There's actually deep-rooted science, you know, behind it and behind the founder, like Dr. Madan Kataria. And so if you're interested, I put the link in there for you to register. And, you know, just even if you're not becoming a laughter yoga leader, just learning, right, the strategies and the tools for your own health and lacking the health of it, I think is powerful.
And Sunday, the first Sunday of May is World Laughter Day.
Yes, May 2nd. It is World Laughter Day. Yay! So I definitely will be celebrating that. And, so because of you, Cathy, I was inspired to reach out to a local nonprofit here, Harmony Mind, Body, Spirit, and Wellness. And so I've been teaming up with them and joining them in the park. That's how laughter yoga got started in India. They were meeting in the park. And so here we are at the beautiful botanical gardens in Jacksonville. And I lead the laughter yoga session for the kids. And it's been so fun just to be around. I think there's nothing better than hearing kids' laughter and drawing out of them. Oh, there's a landline. Just in time. I haven't heard that ringtone in so long.
Hi, Facebook folks.
So thank you again for tuning in. If you're watching this on a replay, I'd love to hear your comments or, have questions for Cathy. She'll be watching them as well. And so thank you, Cathy, for joining me on this special Lunchtime Live celebrating Earth Week, and have an amazing, fantabulous day.
Thank you, Olivia. Thank you.
All right, I'll catch you guys all next time. And if you're interested in being a featured guest for Lunchtime Live, please let me know. Send me a private message, and we'll set it up. So I will see you guys next time. Enjoy.